afternoon, everybody. It's Stephen and Paul from WinExtra bringing you the daily brief for September 5th. It is September, right? No, it's not. It's October.
No, it's October, Steve. It's October. It's okay. You're flustered.
You're flustered. It's been a really rough day. But this is number 22.
This is number 22. Yesterday should have been number 22, but we didn't have any show yesterday because we had
my fault.
Technical difficulties on Stephen's side. And if you're wondering why there are billows of steam emitting from Stephen's head right now, it's because we spent the last half hour or more trying to get this recording started, but one technical difficulty after another has just resulted in perhaps the angriest and crankiest Steve I've seen in quite a while.
Do not talk to me about electronic equipment. I am about ready to explode and start crucifying people left, right, and center. But
I'm glad I'm down here, then you can't get me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to start off with this nonsense. Most Windows users still using XP.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this one. You know, there's a large part of this. It's, first off, it's a report that we picked up through Drivers HQ. Apparently the information has come out of net applications, and they're saying that basically Windows 7's market share will climb above 20% in about, 2 months, which is greater usage than Vista has ever seen, and everybody else is apparently still back on Windows XP. But the numbers aren't adding up.
No.
They haven't shown us the actual numbers from the report. They're just reporting on them. What we looked at the Google Analytics data for September. And this is just September. Between your site and a whole network of my sites. And the numbers just don't add up at all.
Well, it's just as okay, they don't add up for the XP, but they also don't add up to equal this other report coming out that Internet Explorer has dropped below 50% of market share worldwide.
You know what, as far as I'm concerned, we looked at the statistics for my sites across about 10 sites. We also looked at the statistics for September to match their statistics across Daily Shite, which did over, nearly 500,000 absolute uniques in September. And what we found was that across both our sites and our networks of sites, is that on average, Internet Explorer is only coming in the 9 to maybe 15% range per site.
It's nuts. I don't know where these people are getting their numbers. I really don't. This is something that we're going to probably end up talking about this weekend. I wouldn't be at all surprised because it's got us both befuddled. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, I can see too how different, somewhere that does stat counting, obviously, they have a much broader range of sites to sample from than we do. But we're still pulling our statistics from 13 different sites across the whole range, with only one of them being a tech site.
Yeah.
And the rest are, 2 different humor sites in there, a number of personal blogs, etc. And it just doesn't match up. They show Firefox as being at, about 34%. We're typically seeing 48 to 65% for Firefox. Chrome is invariably in the 16 to 19% range across all the sites. And Internet Explorer,
no,
9% to maybe 12%?
WinExtra's seeing about the same. Like when I checked the stats, like the OS, the predominant operating system was Windows 7. The predominant browser was Firefox, followed by Chrome, followed by Internet Explorer.
Well, I can understand WinExtra having the predominant operating system of Windows 7, but we had the predominant operating system of Windows 7 on Daily Shite, which is a pure humor site.
Yeah.
Across the rest of the sites, there was a 0.11% difference between Windows 7 and Vista, 36.88 versus 36.99.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
No. Okay.
Maybe the problem is that we have too much information at our fingertips, and we should just listen to what everybody else is saying instead of looking at our own stats.
Speaking of numbers, one of the other bits of news that's been floating around the past couple of days is the fact that Goldman Sachs has kind of given Ballmer and Microsoft a bit of a slap around.
Yeah, they said that they've devalued the stocks neutral.
Yeah, and I don't know. Ballmer's come out and is defending their spending for the Xbox. He's come out and said, yeah, we messed up with mobile, but we're going to come back, and we're going to come back strong.
And they will come back strong. I mean, they'll come back strong on October 11th in New York. But just briefly to say with the Goldman Sachs thing, look, yes, Microsoft is poor in the mobile area right now. That's about to change.
Yep.
Last year, they had a massive year financially. So basically, they valued an entire company based on one or two sectors of the company. Even though the company still massively performed last year, which to me is a bit strange. Also, somebody there, and I hate to call anybody that works for Goldman Sachs an idiot, but somebody there suggested that Microsoft should be split back up into mini Microsofts. Something which we have discussed many times over. And you know what? When you do that, you intensify the communication issues that Microsoft already has. Because you then have separate divisions working on similar technologies to achieve the same thing. They're not sharing the mind share efficiently when you get down to that. It's not necessarily a good idea. I think they should go back to a more startup culture, as we mentioned before.
Yeah, but how do you get there when you're that big? You know, that's part of the problem. Like, but it's an interesting, and this is a discussion that's probably going to go on. It's been going on for, like you said earlier, like what, 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, for as long as I've been following Microsoft, people have been suggesting it should be, you know, chopped up into smaller sections. We have discussed it at length in earlier editions of the weekend podcast. You know what? It'll probably come up again this weekend.
Yeah, it probably will. But one thing we can definitely point to is we were right, and people like Paul threw it wrong. October 11th is the date, man. That's what everybody is pointing to. That's what all the documentation.
It's the date for the press conference. It's still obviously not the date that we're going to get the handsets in hand. Very interesting thing about the October 11th event in New York is that the CEO of AT&T's mobility and consumer markets, Ralph Della Vega, is going to be on stage with Ballmer showing off the devices. It doesn't look to be a very long event. It's a 9:30 a.m. press conference with an 11 a.m. then to 5 a.m. at the open house, so that we're going to see lots of other technologies too, not just the phones, and then obviously cocktails and crap after 7 o'clock. Interesting news, not on the invitation. We've only seen a copy of the invitation through Mashable, but not on the invitation is any mention of T-Mobile. But it's all over the place and has been confirmed by T-Mobile that they will be there too, although they're not headlining, and they will be showing off, I believe is it an LG?
No, it's an HTC.
It's an HTC phone that they'll be showing off running Windows Phone 7.
Yeah.
Now, do you think we'll get to see any slate action, considering they're doing the open house for hours and hours?
Well, that's what I've read in a couple of places, primarily this morning or late last night, that we could very well see some slate action. This is going to be something that you and I are going to end up talking, because I think you and I are on two different points of view on the slates.
Well, I'll coin those 2 points of view for people, right? It's very simple. Windows 7, as it stands, is wonderful on a slate once you go above a certain screen size. Below that, you want to be on a more Windows Phone 7 OS. That's the difference.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But anyway, apparently, according to SlashGear anyway, there's an Asus ePad running a Tegra 2 tablet. It's been spotted running around and it's got Windows 7 embedded in it.
Yeah, it's Windows 7 embedded. It's 650 grams. It comes in 3 versions, 8 gig, 16 gig, 32 gig of storage, plus a 500 gig cloud-based storage on ASUS servers. That's an interesting thing to note. Obviously, it's got all the bells and whistles, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 3G, HDMI, USB, headphone socket, etc., etc., etc. 0.3 megapixel webcam. That's bad.
That's bad.
That's bad.
Really bad. My phone has a better one than that.
Yeah, battery life is slated at only 4.5 hours. We've seen many other Windows 7 tablets rated better than that already. But the kicker for me on this one, the one that really is killing me about this one, is the screen size. 1024 or 1024 by 600. And this is on an 8.9-inch slate.
No.
There's no excuse for that. That is, you know, that's near... You can get Android phones nearly with better resolution. Well, but close.
Yeah.
That's cell phone screen display on an 8.9-inch tablet. It's ridiculous. I expect that one to go nowhere unless they're basically trying to introduce, you know, the netbook of tablets, if you know what I mean.
But, you know, Michael Ballmer apparently yesterday, he told an audience of students at the London School of Economics that you will see Windows slates by Christmas.
Yeah, now you see, that's an interesting thing. Are we going to see them, or are we going to, you know, see them? If you know what I mean. Are we going to hear the details and maybe see announcements, or are we going to be able to get them in our hands? I doubt we're going to be able to get them in our hands by this point. Then again, you know, that Asus one that's been flying around flies in the wind of that. But they do need an iPad competitor, but where it's going to come from is another story.
Yeah. But we'll obviously hear more over the next couple of days, you know, as we head into Christmas, and we'll be sure to let you know. We're going to call the end of the show for today. This is Stephen and Paul down there in Alabama, wishing you a good Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a good day.
Yeah, we hope to be back with fully functioning sound tomorrow.
Oh, we'll see.